Hello, my name is Tricia Crowley with the League of Women Voters of Champaign County. One of the major missions of the League is to provide information to voters to help them when voting for candidates for office. In this consolidated election of 2025, one of the most important races is for a seat on the Unit 4 school board. This is an interview with Charles Young, who is running for a 4-year term on the school board. The interviewers will be Unit 4 high school students who are student ambassadors for the League of Women Voters. The candidate will have a 2-minute opening, 1.5 minutes per question, and a 1-minute closing. So, Kitty and Emma, do you want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Kitty Miller and I'm a junior at Central High School.
My name is Emma Constantine. I'm also a junior at Central High School.
Okay. And Mr. Young, you want to start with your 2-minute opening.
My name is Charles-Jarrel Young, born and raised right here in Champaign, Illinois. I graduated from Champaign Central High School back in 2006, class of 06. I attended Franklin when it was a magnet middle school and also attended Bottenfield Elementary School. So I'm very familiar with the landscape, the geographical makeup. And I'm ready to run for school board and try to see some changes here. So that's why we're here.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Start with questions.
All right.
What life experiences and skills do you have that would make you an effective member of the school board?
So my experiences thus far, I'm a licensed social worker with a master's in social work, especially in child welfare, community gun violence, and trauma-informed care. It allows me to approach this role with a deep understanding of the impact of systemic issues on students, families, and communities. And I want to highlight students and families. That's something that I hold dear to my heart, knowing that I have a young son that currently attends Franklin School, and Lord willing, my daughter will be attending Unit 4 this upcoming fall as well. I work with families facing adversity, children in trauma, communities affected by violence, which provides me with an empathetic lens and a strong foundation in understanding how to support vulnerable populations within the school system. I do possess strong communication and conflict resolution skills, which are essential for effective board governance moving forward. Additionally, my experience in leadership and social change gives me the tools to drive initiatives that promote equity, community involvement, and effective problem solving within the district.
What do you think are the 3 biggest problems at Unit 4 and what solutions would you offer?
Okay. So coming from a social work lens, my 3 biggest challenges facing Unit 4 are disparities in educational outcomes. And when it comes down to those disparities, we need to address the achievement gaps that disproportionality affects students from low income and minority backgrounds. Solutions should include equitable access to high quality educational resources, enhanced community partnerships, and targeted interventions to support struggling students. I would also say school safety and community violence. That's been huge around here, especially since post-pandemic. Gun violence and trauma impact students' ability to focus and succeed in school. We must increase these resources for mental health, implement trauma-informed practices, and work collaboratively with law enforcement, community organizations to address the root causes of violence. And then I would say my last issue that I would address is teacher and staff turnover. That's huge. High turnover disrupts students' learning experiences overall. To address this, we must focus on improving teacher retention by providing professional development, fostering a supportive work environment, and ensuring competitive compensation and benefits so that we're caught up with today's bills, expenses, and cost of living.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Do you have any experience, especially volunteer experience, working with children?
Honestly, I prefer being in the field, where you can be reached. Yes, I have an extensive experience working with children in various capacities, from social work and child welfare systems to facilitating group therapy and mentorship programs for at-risk youth. especially. Through my work, I have built strong relationships with children, offering them support in managing trauma and emotional distress. This work has given me insights into the challenges they face and the tools necessary to empower them to succeed. Currently, I'm a full-time foster care supervisor for CYFS, contract through DCFS, the Department for Children and Family Services. I'm a licensed therapist with Envisage Counseling. I've facilitated hip hop programming at Booker T. Washington School, Kenwood Elementary School. I've participated in read alouds across the Unifor School District. I've helped out with the goal getters over at Centennial High School with Mr. Sheldon Turner. I'm a football coach for the Central Illinois Youth Football League, where I was the defensive coordinator for the JV Mustangs. A basketball coach for Midnight Basketball with Youth for Christ. I've worked for 4-H as an extension program coordinator through the University of Illinois. I have facilitated instructional programming on trades such as cutting hair, and also helped spearhead the making of a recording studio in Rentoul, Illinois, at Rise Academy through grant funds by ICO and the University of Illinois. And these are just a few things, just to name. The list goes on, honestly.
The public perception is that the current school board is dysfunctional. As a board member, what would you do to help create a functional board?
With my experience in conflict resolution and mediation, that would be my go-to. I'm all into creating a functional board that requires transparency, collaboration, and a focus on shared goals. I would advocate for clear communication, respectful dialogue, mediation, conflict resolution, cultural competency, strategic planning that is rooted in the needs of the community. It's also important to build trust through regular updates, listening sessions, ensuring that board decisions are based on data-driven solutions, and that they are also solution-driven. Excuse me. Additionally, I would also like to foster a culture of accountability and aligning all members around common values that will promote a cohesive working environment.
Unit 4 administration had a large number of high-ranking staff leave. Why do you think that occurred?
I would say the turnover of high-ranking staff can result from a variety of factors, right? You have to peel back the layers of the onion, including leadership instability, lack of support, mental health, challenges with the district's organizational culture. What does that look like, right? It's also important to create an environment where staff feel valued, supported, and motivated to stay. Addressing systemic challenges and investing in professional development is huge. It's key. Job satisfaction and clear pathways for advancement that can help reduce turnover overall.
Regarding the Unit 4 budget, assuming no new revenue, would you want to reallocate money to other existing programs or new programs? What programs, and if so, where would the funds be taken away from?
It's a good question. Given a static budget, I would prioritize reallocating funds towards programs that directly impact student outcomes. I'm a huge fan of your ABITs and things like that. Definitely mental health support, early intervention programs for struggling students so that they can catch up, and overall professional development, such as cultural competency. That's huge as well, especially in today's climate when it comes down to student learning. Not only just for the teachers, but for admin as well, to be updated and educated on trauma-informed care. Cuts could potentially be made in administrative expenses or non-essential services. However, any reallocation would need to be done with careful consideration of all stakeholders, ensuring that essential services and programs are not compromised. And I stand firm on that.
Are more resources needed for the special education program?
Oh, absolutely. I have a background in social work, and I've worked with I have SPED clients. Special ed services often require additional resources to meet the needs of these students with diverse learning requirements, right? This includes specialized staff, appropriate accommodations, classroom modifications. Additionally, there should be a focus on training general education teachers overall to work inclusively with students in special education, not just the SPED teachers, but just the regular gen ed teachers. It wouldn't hurt at all for them to know as well, right, and be included. And making sure that we're ensuring a more integrated and supportive learning environment.
Are more funds needed to address the issues of non-English speaking students and families?
Can you say that one more time, please?
Yeah. Are more funds needed to address the issues of non-English speaking students and families?
Yes, definitely. Additional funding is essential to provide the necessary resources for non-English speaking students and their families. This may include hiring more bilingual staff, offering translation services, creating culturally relevant curriculum, providing outreach programs to ensure these families are engaged and informed. Keyword informed. Effective language support services not only help students, but also strengthen the community's connection to the school system. And that's where we rebuild that village approach. Okay.
The issue of assigning children to a school is difficult because of the need to balance the desire for neighborhood schools, socioeconomic integration, and transportation. There is the current Schools of Choice program and 4 plans presented by consultants. What are your views on this issue?
Good question. I support the idea of neighborhood schools while recognizing the importance of socioeconomic integration to foster diversity and equal opportunity. The school choice program and various plans presented should prioritize equity and inclusion, ensuring that all students have access to high quality education, regardless of their socioeconomic status or neighborhood. I would surely encourage further community engagement to ensure that the voices of parents, students, staff are all included in the decision-making process to develop a plan that is both effective and sustainable. We have to think towards the future as well. So we're looking long-term. That's why I highlight sustainability.
School success is greatly impacted by attendance. How would you increase attendance?
Oh, okay. To increase attendance, we need to address the root causes of absenteeism. Okay, including trauma, mental health issues, and family instability. You know, um, this could involve expanding wraparound services that provide support to students and families. Um, Encouraging parent involvement, man. That's key, offering incentives for attendance. What does that look like? That's something that we can address at the board level, I'm just throwing some ideas out there. Implementing programs to increase engagement, bridge transition programs that prep students for the collegiate level or trade courses, right? Productive and entertaining after school activities and family support services. That's the generation I come from. I attended middle school in the early 2000s. I attended high school in the early 2000s. There was a sense of community when I was coming up. Schools should also create a welcoming and inclusive environment that encourages all students to feel excited and motivated to attend.
What can be done to increase student test scores?
Good question. I would say improving student test scores requires a multifaceted approach. Okay, follow me. I believe that investing in teacher development is huge, particularly in the areas of culturally responsive teaching and differentiated instruction. This will help students perform better, I feel like. Additionally, creating a supportive learning environment that addresses the emotional and mental health needs of students is crucial, right? Encouraging parent involvement, like I said earlier, that's so key. And rebuilding a sense of community. providing targeted interventions for struggling students, and using data to inform instructional practices. That will also contribute to increased test scores, I believe.
Pursuant to board policy section, the board has the authority to approve the hiring and firing of uniform personnel. Under what circumstances would you further pursue the superintendent's decision to dismiss professional staff?
Honestly, I would pursue the dismissal of professional staff only if there was a clear violation of ethical standards. Me being a social worker, I took an oath, HIPAA, confidentiality, and everything has to remain ethical as a social worker. Look into these laws or district policies that negatively impact the students, staff, or even the community, right? Additionally, I would want to ensure that appropriate steps were taken to address the issue through professional development or other corrective actions before just considering dismissal. It's important that any personnel decisions are fair, transparent, and overall in the best interest of the students and the district.
It seems a number of basic questions that board members are asked have gone unanswered. What would you do to make sure the board members' questions are answered?
Well, I mean, with my background in conflict resolution and having those difficult and challenging conversations, this isn't new for me. As a board member, I would advocate for clear and open communication on and off camera, with the administration present, ensuring that all questions from board members are answered in a timely and thorough manner. If questions are not addressed adequately, I will work to create a protocol for accountability, ensuring that no concerns go unaddressed, ensuring transparency and building trust with the administration and the community is essential for effective governance as a whole.
Under Unifor's contract with Superintendent Boozer, the school board could terminate the contract 1 year early by acting by May 31st of 2025. Would you vote to terminate the contract at that time, and why or why not?
Honestly, we were asked this question during the News Gazette segment probably about like a week ago. I would only vote to terminate the contract if there was clear evidence, right, that the superintendent was not meeting the goals of the district, hindering student success, or failing to foster a positive and collaborative school environment. I'm not on the board with her. I've never gotten a chance to work with her personally one-on-one. So I'm not a fan of just going off of what somebody else says. I would actually have to go in there and do the work with this individual, and then I can do a fair assessment. I'm a therapist as well, so with me being a therapist, I can assess what's being done and what's not being done. What benchmarks have not been hit. The decision would need to be data driven and based on thorough review of the superintendent's performance. If the district's needs are not being met, it may be necessary to make a change, right? However, I believe that before making such a decision, we must ensure that all options for collaboration and improvement have been explored. Until we have gotten to that point where we have exhausted all resources, then we can make a consideration for something else. So, yeah.
Okay, I think that's all the questions. So we
Oh,
have
wow. That wasn't
1
bad.
minute for our closing, and then we'll be concluded. So 1 minute for closing.
Okay. Overall, look, we all have access to the internet. We all have access to social media. We see what's been going on across the board with our school board. It's time for change, and what better time would it be than now? While there's a lot of chaos that might be going on, let's go ahead and change the narrative, and let's just reconnect the pieces. I'm a part of the millennial generation, so I'm right in the middle. I understand the older generation and the younger generation. I have a goddaughter that just graduated from Central High School last year. I have a nephew that attends Central High School as well. So I'm familiar. I'm updated on all the information, and it's time for some new, fresh ideas, right? And let's build together. Let's reestablish some community, and let's have a good time doing it, man. It's gonna look different this time around. So yeah,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
not a problem.
And so I want to thank Mr. Young for volunteering to run for public office. It's a very difficult job these days, and the office of school board is almost the most difficult I can imagine. So thank you for stepping up and volunteering that. And so I'd also like to thank our student ambassadors who I've been reminded have not been introduced. So why don't you introduce yourself and say goodbye all at once?
I'm Kitty Miller and I go to Central High School. I'm a junior there.
I'm Emma Constante. I'm also a junior at Central High School.
Okay, well, thank you, students, and thank you, Mr. Young, for participating. And I guess this is done. Thank you.